talent in every possible venue. If you want to talk about the range of a career, he has literally worked with everyone from Ethel Merman to Miley Cyrus, Gene Kelly to the Jonas Brothers. He's worked with the Oingo Boingo and directed the opening and closing ceremonies at the 2002 Winter Olympics. He's worked with Diana Ross, Cher, Madonna, Streisand, basically everyone I wanted to be growing up. Plus, Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, and of course, Michael Jackson.
Years old. Really, I got a scholarship. My mother would take me to visit my cousins who were taking dance classes. And she said I would just jump out of the chair and go up and join all the little girls in the class. And the teacher didn't have a boy in her class. So she said, you know, you don't have to pay. I'd love to have a boy in the class. And I ended up studying with her until I was 12 years old. And that really, you know, gave me my start. I started working professionally at 13 years old.
And did you have favorite musicals growing up? Were there movies that
Yeah.
What were some faves?
Well, you know, I mean, I was watching them on television, you know, and on an occasion, my family could afford to let me go and see something on the big screen, but I grew up watching the reruns on television in black and white. Gene Kelly, Singing in the Rain. The first big musical that just kicked me in the butt and said, this is going to be who you are, was West Side Story. I went to see West Side Story when I was a teenager in high school and left having seen that film knowing that there was no turning back, that, you know, this was going to be my life.
And so your plan was to be a dancer. In fact, you were in hair early on, right?
Yeah, actually, I studied acting. And I really thought that that's what I was going to end up doing. I did that from the time I was 13 years old until I was about 23. Yes, in the musical Hair for a number of years, and did a lot of theater, a ton of theater. I was at Oliver, the national touring company of Oliver, with the original cast in London, Georgia Brown and Robin Ramsey, and for a long while. It seemed like a long while. It really wasn't, because at 24 I realized that choreography and directing was something that I was more fascinated with. But it seemed like, you know, already life. You know, from 13 to like 23 years old, it was all I could dream about, all I could think about. And then one day I met this incredible group of people called the Tubes, a rock and roll group from Phoenix, Arizona, that basically, in one afternoon, changed the course of my life.
Well, how so?
Well, you know, I was dancing in a nightclub in San Francisco on a Friday night, and these two guys came up to me and said, we've been watching you, and we're looking for someone to help us out. We have a band, but we're injuring ourselves. We're trying to do theatrics and choreography, but we're not really quite sure how to go about it. And you know, the drummer's girlfriend has got black and blue marks all over her body. We're looking for somebody to come in. I thought, what are they talking about? You know, I'm an actor's equity, man. What are you talking about? No, but the next day I went over and they invited me, and I went into this warehouse in the Tenderloin in San Francisco. And they put on this show for me, and I had never seen anything like it in my life. It was living theater, it was rock and roll, it was a coming together of art and video and music and theater and dance and ideas that I've never seen before. And I was just getting ready actually to go on the road to do Jesus Christ Superstar. And I put a quarter in a telephone on the street and called up and said, I'm going to do something else with my life. And I ended up working with the Tubes for 10 years. 10 albums, we toured the entire world. And really, they were the pioneers of rock and roll, and the first band to really incorporate media and dance and theater on stage. It was an absolutely fantastic growing experience for me.
And did you have any qualms about leaving being a performer to be a choreographer? I mean, were you?
I always did it. You know, I was really lucky as a young person when I was doing musicals growing up. I mean, I was in children's theater, community theater, regional theater, touring theater. I was in a show every 5 minutes. I even started my own theatrical company when I was 17 years old because it was like I couldn't get enough of it. And so I was always involved in the behind the scenes, but didn't realize that it actually was my calling. But I'd worked with great choreographers, wonderful directors, And they were always sort of like, calling on me to assist, to dance captain. And so when I met this group, the Tubes, it was just really basically about helping them come to understand, the difference between theater and life. They were attacking their theater in a way that was like dangerous. It was like stunts. And I was like, well, maybe if you don't really, punch her. Like, let's turn her body a little bit and then punch across, and she'll move like this, and it'll, that was fantastic. You should check it out. If you've never seen the Tube, they're online, YouTube. You can really check. It's really, they still to this day, one of the most creative rock and roll organizations out there.
That's amazing. So how did you end up getting? I know you did stage as well, but at what point did you get to do Xanadu, and how did that end up happening?
Wow. You know who Toni Basil is? The choreographer, Toni Basil? Yeah. Actually spoke with her tonight. Toni Basil was, one of the groundbreaking dancers in the lockers. Worked with everyone from Anne Margaret and Elvis Presley and Bette Midler's show, brilliant production in Las Vegas. David Bowie, Talking Heads, you name it. Toni Basil's been there. Brilliant inventor and choreographer. And she had been asked to do Xanadu. And then Bette had asked Toni to do The Rose. And I was already assisting Bette on Toni on The Rose. And so she said, well, I'll let you do Xanadu. And so she sort of threw me over to Joel Silver to do Xanadu. And it was like a $3 million roller skating exploitation film. It never became much more than that. But they pumped a lot more money in it when Olivia decided to do it. And then, of course, my life changed again when I woke up to the phone call that Gene Kelly is going to also do the film. Yeah.
I actually want to show a quick clip from Xanadu, if we can. Fantasia thing that changed my life, but you've got this really fantastic, like, classical dance going on in the middle of this. What was it like working with Gene Kelly?
There's a great story actually to this number. When the film was finished, they had like a little sneak preview for the press, and they showed, I don't know, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and at the end, the number one question was, what was the dance number between Gene Kelly and Olivia Newton-John? Because in every movie that Gene Kelly did, he always had the dance number with the girl. Well, he didn't have a dance number with the girl in Xanadu. And so the producer said, you'll just have to wait to see the film. Called Gene Kelly, and Gene said, yeah, let's do it, but no producers. I want to be in a soundstage with Kenny. We'll do it, we'll deliver it. And basically, I threw a viewfinder around my neck and put a stopwatch in my hand, and that was actually the very first musical number that I ever directed for film. Yeah, with Gene Kelly as my partner. Did you like all the fancy MTV, cutting? So actually, that was the beginning of a friendship that became 17 years, where Gene really did become, first and most importantly, my dear, dear friend, and then, I don't know where I would be today had it not been for his gracious and loving, generosity and teaching me, the art, designing, choreography for camera, and just really, mentored me and worked with me and helped me develop into the director and choreographer that I have become and that I am still becoming. He's like, a little angel that sits on my shoulder, no matter what it is that I'm doing in my life.
It must have been an amazing gift for a young choreographer to have to meet someone like that and have him sort of take you under his wing that way.
They told me, they said, Gene Kelly is interested in doing the film. He's not going to dance, but he's not going to do the film until he meets the choreographer and signs off on it. And so, cut to the next day, car drives up, Gene Kelly gets out, and he doesn't even look at me, and he says, just me and the kid, everybody else out. And I'm hyperventilating. And we go into the producer's office and he closes the door and we're sitting in there and he said, I'm not dancing in this film. I said, I know Mr. Kelly, I know Mr. Kelly. And he said, if I was, what would you have me do? Fortunately, I had memorized every single one of his dance numbers. And so I said, well, I would start with, and I started doing some of his moves. And he was studying me, and he said, that's the old Nora Bayes, and that one came from, and we developed a little relationship in the room. 40 minutes later, he was dancing with me in the office. And then he said, okay, I'll do the picture. Kid, open up the door, and without looking at the producer, sort of stormed by them and said, I'll do the picture. And we did. He roller skated, and we did this little piece here together with Olivia, who, by the way, was an absolute darling and wonderful woman to work with as well.
It's amazing, too, the cultural reach of that film. Like, it sort of had a life beyond. I once saw
Too long of a life.
I once saw a drag queen do Xanadu, the title song on roller skates in a gay bar in like a small town in Montana. So there you go.
I was going to say, it was worth it to see the Broadway musical.